Hello, everybody. Welcome to SketchCraft Live. Hey, we're going to do a movie review. We've actually watched a movie, and by say we, I mean myself, Darth Bradley, and Kyle Wright. Joining in, let me unmute their mics really quick. Let me go ahead and say, Darth Bradley, are you there? Are you there? Richard.
Actually, I muted myself.
Yeah, very, very clever. Great way to do a review. Also joining in is Kyle Wright. Say hello.
I did not mute myself.
All right.
Kyle's picture is the Ninth Doctor. That's excellent. He's my favorite Doctor. I love Chris Eccleston.
That's actually what Kyle looks like. Like, you'd be awfully surprised, Rich. Basically, what am I talking about? Empire Strikes Back Revisited. Now, if you don't know what the Revisited series is, way back in 2004, a fan editor on the internet by the name of Adywan, A-D-Y-W-A-N, Adywan, I think his first name is Royce, did his own personal special edition of Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, called Star Wars Revisited, or New Hope Revisited, however you want to say it. And it was basically the internet and Adywan trying to make a version of the special edition that we had all, as the hardcore fans, wanted Lucas to actually make. All the lightsabers were fixed, extra, TIE fighters added to the battles, tons of color fixing because the special editions added weird coloration, taking out all the needless CG monsters that didn't need to be there, while maintaining some of the bigger scope of the newer mats and adding some of the depth to the galaxy that we did appreciate, I think, from the special edition. So he completed that back in 2004. It was 2004, 2007, I want to say, around there. It was completed. And then he went to work on Empire Strikes Back. And he figured because the movie was pretty much already damn near close to perfect, it would take maybe a year, tops. And 10 years later, it came out. Because we all know these fan projects, they can go a little longer than planned. So let me quickly show you guys Adywan's Facebook page, which I will have links to as well. Desktop. This right here is his Facebook page, where he's sort of been keeping track of everything recently with clips, and that's been going. He's been putting these clips up for about 4, 6, 7 years now. So if you want to see links to the actual movie, got to actually own Empire Strikes Back. We don't, support piracy. But you can also find out his whole process and everything he's been doing in great detail on his Facebook page, as well as the internet fan database.fanedit.org has a pretty temporary list of these are just the changes, like just the preliminary change list. This is not even the final change list by any measure. They're still working on that. And so you all know what was released right now. What we have is a 720p MKV file. It's about 8 gigabits. They're working on a DVD 5 and then eventually a DVD 9 with bonus features, full menus, and behind-the-scenes footage, and alternate versions, and interviews, and everything else. So, so Kyle and Rich know, if your complaints are that it's just a movie and there's nothing extra, all that other stuff's coming. So we can bypass all that. In the meantime, Rich, you were there with me back in 1996 at Comic-Con when we first learned of the special edition. You remember that?
Yes, I do. Actually, I was really excited because I was hoping that Lucas would pull his head out of his ass, do a little bit more drugs, and give us the definitive version.
Right, and so like one of the big things we were looking for was like like Luke's lightsaber in A New Hope, right? It's like green. And so we thought we were gonna fix all that stuff and update it. And when the special editions came out, we were there opening day. I personally spent like the time I bought like what 20 tickets.
Yep.
I just
It
gave
was
them
a
out.
fucking disappointment, man.
Well,
Just disappointed. Total disappointment with some of the special effects. The rotoscoping was not even complete. And what we learned from that night was that they were working on it up until the release of both, well, A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back.
yeah, well, it definitely was sort of a work in progress. Kyle, did you see the special editions in the theaters when they came out? The first one came out in, was it March of '97? I think it was March and April. May, or was it May? I can't remember.
Yeah, my good friend Kevin McIntyre and I skipped school so that we could go see the first showing.
I love you.
Yeah, we saw it at there was a Cinerama screen here in San Diego. It was one of the few places in the country that Star Wars actually played when it was on like 7 screens in the country or whatever like that. It was like 7 screens. Like, it was one of the first places ever played. So it was actually
It was one
Cinerama.
of the places that they actually demoed that whole building actually recently.
Yeah, it's gone
Sadly.
now. But we got to see it there. We were excited to see the movie, unimpressed with the lack of actual attention to detail. So that was our overall thoughts. Kyle, what was your overall thoughts of the original special edition release?
I loved seeing it on the big screen since I missed the first opportunity when it originally came out. I was not a big fan of a lot of the additional scenes that they added in.
And I'll be honest, I
Especially
think
singing
Rich,
aliens.
I think Richard, you were more critical at the time of them than me. Like, Rich was the one who was like, "Dude, they didn't fix this, and Obi-Wan's lightsaber is still a pole." Like, and I was like, "Well, like I was pretty apologetic, I think, at the time."
At the time, you were like, "Yeah, Star Wars Special Edition," and I was like, I watched it 57 times, the entire trilogy, before Special Edition, just so I knew every frame I could possibly see that was changed. I've always been pretty critical of Star Wars, but I mean, that's just me. But I mean, looking back, I wish I had just enjoyed it, instead of being so critical, because I could have been like a lot of other people. Mostly, I enjoyed the waiting to actually see A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. The build-up was much more intense, much more fun than actually watching 3 films that I knew front to back, by heart. And I don't know. When I got in there and I saw the films, I was severely disappointed. We're talking about Industrial Light and Magic, which is basically the industry standard at the time.
I mean,
And
at the
still
time,
is.
hold on. So I think it's really interesting to just let's think about that thought. See, right now there's a billion effects houses. I mean, everyone can we can do effects right here. Matter of fact, Adiwan can do it right from his home computer. Make a whole special edition, right? But like in 1997, you had Industrial Light and Magic was like at the top, and then way down here you maybe had like Digital Domain. And then I think that's all I knew. Like, I mean, there were others, but I didn't know them. So we really expected. I mean, we expected the bar to be set with these special editions, and we just came out with like a list of like, I wonder why they didn't fix this. I wonder why they didn't fix that, and never got those answers until the internet was able to take up arms and make their own edits. Eventually, first with the prequels, and then now it's trying to restore the original editions, especially like the despecialized and stuff like that. And then Adiwa's revisited version, which for me, when I first saw the first one, was the first time I was able to enjoy Star Wars since maybe the first screening of The Phantom Menace, when I still drank the Kool-Aid, right, Rich? Right? Like I still sort of, still happy at that point, I think.
Well, you
So-
were still very enthused about Star Wars. I was excited to see Addy ones. I don't know where you're gonna go with this, but I have my my high points.
We're gonna go. So Kyle, when did you first come across the Adiwan Special Edition?
Just a couple years back, I came across it, and I think I've only watched it once in that time.
Your thoughts on the initial release compared to, like, say, the special edition, the official?
It's been long enough since I watched it that I don't recall
Thanks
that
for
well
preparing, Kyle.
what my
All right, thanks, Kyle.
wait. Should I have watched Empire Strikes Back Revisited as well?
Thanks, Kyle.
I did watch that today.
You do remember your recollection, your thoughts of it at the time, certainly, right? Like, you liked it, didn't like it?
I liked it.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, I feel like it took the things I had hoped the special editions would do,
Okay.
and didn't add in all the stupid parts that kind of had turned me off from the special editions.
Seriously, Kyle, you haven't even watched the show. Santa!
So, with that being said, the revisited Empire.
Wait, hang on. When is the last time
Seriously, Kyle.
has watched Revisited?
Which Empire?
The one we're reviewing right now.
About an hour and a half ago.
Yeah, he watched it today. Yeah, I made certain.
Okay, so you watched it today once?
Rich,
Yeah.
not everyone, is like. That's why you're here. Right?
Some of us have to work.
This is why I invite you.
I
on.
worked today.
Yeah,
I
well,
worked today.
I know, Rich, but like, there's a reason why we have you here, because you pour into the details, like happily.
Seriously, Kyle. What is your problem? Seriously.
So that being said, when Adiwan first announced that he was doing the Empire Revisited, I still had a job at the time, so I felt like, okay, hold on, Rich. So I felt like chipping in and helping out, and probably put somewhere between $400-$600 in to help get the Falcon model. And I remember my wife, then girlfriend at the time, was like, "Really? Like, seriously, Rob? Like, really, you're gonna spend $400 to help a fan edit?" And I just felt like the guy, like, I hadn't spent money on Star Wars since Rich, I took you to go see Attack of the Clones in IMAX. Remember that, Rich?
Yes.
Okay. So I took
remember
that was
that.
the last time I had spent money on Star Wars up until 2007 or 8. I can't remember. I'm fuzzy on the dates. So, and he went off and made this. Now he had a grip of help this time. He got extras. He got people shooting extra stuff on Hoth. He got CG people helping him. He got like a little crew together this time. I mean, there's a reason why it took 10 years. And when it finally came out, I downloaded it immediately, and then had Rich get a hold of it, and Kyle, you got a hold of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so then I said, y'all got to watch it. And then I let Rich watch it for about, a week or two? How was it? Been 2 weeks? Been like 2 weeks, I think. So,
Total of 2 weeks, I've seen it 5 times.
right. And then I'm like, once he's seen it enough, then we'll come over here and we'll talk about it. I know, Rich, you have a really detailed list. I'm going to start with Kyle. So, Kyle, what were your overall thoughts of the Empire Strikes Back Revisited? What did you think?
I really liked how subtle I feel like he was with his changes. Because, as I said, like, the Lucas changes were so over the top that it was very obvious, like, the scenes Lucas added back in. Whereas watching this, there's stuff, because I haven't watched Empire for probably about 10 years. And so I watched the whole thing. I was like, all right, I know there's some stuff in there I don't remember seeing before. So I had to go back to the change log to see what exactly he had added in. And so I just really appreciated the attention to detail he had and trying to make it match the look that was established originally.
Right. Yeah, and I mean it's definitely like if you go back and watch the episode 4 revisited, he added mats and stuff that were pretty clever, but they don't match the level of like they're not theatrically, painted. Like they're it's a CG little mat that he added and that works. But it's pretty flawless this time around. Rich, what were your thoughts on Empire Strikes Back revisited?
Well, the clarity is the biggest thing. The clarity, even 720p, the clarity is amazing throughout the entire film. There's no grain, no film grain, and that in and of itself is impressive. There's actually a scene where it's there's a TIE bomber flying past one of the Star Destroyer's windows there, the bridge windows. And usually with any of the special edition stuff, what you saw was TIE fighters moving, and they had almost a faint box where you could see they tried to clean it up, and they failed to do a good transition. And what Adawan did was go and fix a lot of those, especially with the mats, the entire scene with the AT-ATs. I still get a kick out of the armor's too strong for those blasters, but they can shoot one when it's on the ground, with its ass up in the air, and it's just fine. But and that makes me laugh. But the clarity and the amount of and I only know this because I was watching the project as it progressed. The matting from before was just dismal, and what Adawan did was basically go through and make all of the scenes in all of the snow speeders and any of the matting scenes throughout the whole film, even the asteroid
So
scene.
what Rich is talking, one of the things that he's talking about, let me show. This is easier to show than to say. So one of the things Rich is talking about is this right here. I saved a screenshot. So this is inside the cockpit of the snowspeeder. Now, in normal special editions and all the way back to the original release of Empire, these cockpits, you can see through them. The snow you see through it. And so one of the promises of the special edition was that they were going to go through and rotoscope all this stuff so they weren't transparent. It was just a limitation of the matting product. They didn't have computers in 1980 to do all this stuff with.
Well, they did, just not
Photoshop or
do what they
whatever.
wanted.
Or After Effects or whatever, an Avid system. And then when they made the special editions when they released them on DVD in 2004, 2005, 2004, they even went so far as to say, we cleaned it up. We didn't fix it before, but this time we did it. And they showed footage,
they did,
and you could see through them in the footage. Like, it was the craziest bullshit lie.
It wasn't a bullshit lie. What they did was they cleaned the entire scene up by adding a lot of blue to the background
to make it, but you could still see through the cockpit, and then they added blue to try to tie everything together. So one of the things that Adawan had to go do was refix the color timing on the entire film to match more closely the original release or what was intended. Kyle, you're a cinematographer. Did you notice the color changes on this release compared to, say, the special editions?
Like I said, it's been 10 years since I watched it, so I didn't have a good reference point.
Good job, Kyle. So,
Okay, Kyle. So go back, Kyle. Santa, Kyle. Go back and watch Special Edition, Kyle. And then, what you need to do, Kyle, is you need to go through and watch Star Wars Revisited. And revisit Star Wars the way that Adawan wanted you to revisit Star Wars, Kyle. You fucking Jew.
Okay, all right. Hold on, Cartman. So they're gonna think I'm making that. So, but you could see here, it's.
Well, hang on. Before you go any further, disclosure: anything that I say is not scripted. It's not. Rob does not.
You know,
say,
that's what we
"Hey,
were all worried
I
about. That
want-
someone
I
actually
want
wrote.
you to say this.
Yeah.
Act like this. You didn't tell me what Kyle was gonna. Usually, I'm Mr.
No.
Potato Heads. Here.
I know
And,
the risks I take on this one. So so one of the things that he did again was fix all the mats so they're completely opaque. They aren't transparent. Also, one of the things he did was was it's hard to see here, but in the space shots, Rich, what you were saying was TIE fighters. Whenever the TIE fighters fly by, even in the special edition, they'll have these black boxes. They're called little mat boxes. It's because they would shoot them in front of these cards, and then superimpose that over, actual film and line it all up. And so he had to go and rotoscope every frame, trace every frame that a TIE fighter was in to get rid of those seam lines or that to make them fully opaque. And you can see even here, this is a screen cap of inside the cockpit, and just the coloration on this is pretty amazing. They're not blue; they're vibrant. This really looks like it was shot yesterday. I mean, that's how good it looks. It's pretty phenomenal. If you're a fan of these of the original releases or a fan of even just cinematography in general, I mean, Empire always looked good, but it was getting weird watching the whole movie tinted in blue throughout the years, and so a lot of that color was brought back to it. Also, Rich, why don't you talk about some of the changes made to the Battle of Hoth?
I didn't notice too many changes made to the Battle of Hoth. I just
Seriously?
the one thing, like I said, the clarity. I honestly didn't notice. I watched this version 5 times. I did not watch Special Edition 5 times, and I probably should have, just to know the difference between the two. My biggest thing was all of the matting that they did throughout the entire film, especially with the AT-ATs. I mean, just looking at the picture, dude, you can tell the difference right now in the brightness of the whites.
Right, but here's some changes. Right, here's how detailed this stuff is. Like this right here is a screen cap of the battle. So he actually had it so these troopers are up here, ready to drop out of the AT-AT. They added tons of extra trenches, right? So it's more like an actual World War I, World War II style battle.
Well, yeah, that stuff. I mean, talking about like there's a scene where
they added
it shows you the cockpits.
There's chicken. Look at these guys.
Walkers.
Look at these guys dropping down here. Look at that. Look at that, Rich. Look at that dropping down. Look at that. Shoot!
Yeah.
Look at this. You can see into the. You can see in over here too, and you can see into the AT-AT like. And they don't like.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The cockpits, you can see into a lot of things you couldn't see before. It was just blacked out. Like you can see. Look at that. You can see the troopers right there in the cockpit, the drivers of the AT-ST and the commander. In a lot of the scenes, you can actually see that. So that's something else as well. As far as I didn't put that in my notes, but
there's so many things, guys. Like you could just sit there and stare at it forever. Like, what did they do? So it just, and it's also been re-edited a little bit, so the battle's a lot clearer. I think, like you get a sense of what's actually
yeah. But
going on.
the only problem that I noticed, dude, is he cleaned it up so much. There are issues with the matting, in quite a few scenes. Actually, they're so clear, and I'm afraid for 1080p. They're so clear that they almost look CG. I mean, they're so clean. It's like you're looking at. It's so clean. You're like, holy shit, did he remake that scene completely? Because there are sections of the movie, especially in the beginning with the one-armed Wampa, that, with one-armed after Luke cut its arm off. But, I mean, he did entire scenes, and I know those scenes because I know what he was working on. He wasn't intending to put those scenes in there, but he did. The biggest things that I noted in everything was the color adjust. And anybody who watches the original trilogy or even special edition will notice all of the colors for all the lights, be it engine lights, cockpit lights, background lighting, everything is much brighter, and in some scenes it's almost too. Well, look at the explosion there. Even those scenes, especially the ones for the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon, they're really bright. Some of them are too bright, like Super Star Destroyer in the asteroid field. It's almost too bright. See, that's really bright right there. Really bright. But I mean, it's the sun. So, oh, it's a sun, not the sun, I should say.
Thanks, Dork. So, Kyle, any other thoughts on the Empire Strikes Back Revisited? Some things that stood out to you, or that you appreciated or you took note of, for good or for ill?
Let's see. I felt like the Cloud City shots from the special edition really stood out. The look didn't match. Which I think that's just a limitation of the CG back in the late 90s.
And you're like, I hate the special edition additions.
For me,
Go ahead.
for me, Bespin was friggin' awesome this time around because it wasn't put Captain Solo in the cargo hold. It wasn't some Aussie was put Captain Solo in the cargo hold. You know, it was like classic, dude. And the thing that really was cool is when Slave One was sitting there waiting for Leia and Chewie with 3PO on his back to get there to the hangar that he was taken off from, or the docking bay, etc. Was they had all the ships that people were leaving Bespin because Lando Calrissian said, evacuate. The Empire's taking control of the station.
And everyone grabbed their ice cream makers.
And yeah, everybody grabbed their ice cream makers, and you could see the ships taking off in that scene. But it was unfortunate they didn't continue. He didn't continue over to the next scene when they opened the bay door when Slave One was sitting there, and he was like, it's kind of special because like I've read the book where the Tales from Mos Eisley where Boba Fett's like perspective from seeing Princess Leia break through that door and shit. But I mean, just that scene, they should have had ships taken off the background because they did in the scene before that. And
They're leaving. They are. You got to look. They're there.
Yep. You can't see them.
Okay.
Watch the scene again.
One of the other things that I really like too is this is hard to see here, but this is the initial establishing shot of Dagobah after Luke crashes. So this initially was a matte painting, and one of the things Addy wanted was actually build these trees as models. These are actual models that he then photographed and then layered into. And then right here, it's a little hard to make on the screen, but right here is the Dagobah spider. And this comes from a Ralph McQuarrie painting that was used for concept art for Empire Strikes Back that was never put in the movie, and it actually crawls out back over here. It's pretty fucking awesome in motion.
I was wondering where that had come from.
Yeah, that's an actual that comes from an actual piece of concept art.
I actually cried a little bit at that part.
Yeah, it really was something quite special to see because it's like they I was always wondering, I'll bring it up right now, like the actual McQuarrie painting. This is it right here.
Oh, did you have it?
So yeah, I got Googled it, Rich. So like right there, this is the piece of concept art with Luke and his it was a spider that's dropping all his disgusting fucking, I don't know what the hell this is. And obviously
it's homage. Look at it, dude. It's homage to some aliens there.
I was gonna say to if you could say homage to Sigourney Weaver. Like what? Like
it's homage to Sigourney Weaver.
So I thought that was pretty dope that they actually put that in there. The other thing I caught note of too that I love is so in the Hoth base, the Rebel base, they have these screens, right, with these lines on them, glowing lines, and they're always just up there doing. They're just lines. They're just glowy lines. Even in the 80s, I was like, what are they doing?
It's a radar screen.
I get it, but they never move. Nothing ever happens to them. So in this one, they went back and they left the original lines there, but they also went and added, check this out. They went and added this real
numbers.
real subtle stuff where these things are actually moving around, and when they actually touch the screen and move it, they're actually moving around stuff. So, like this guy right here, see, he's right there, and this is actually affecting, and different things are coming out and stuff. So, just little shit like that that I had thought would be in the initial special edition that weren't, but they went and did it, and they're pretty flawless. Also, this scene. So, one of the things Adiwan did is pretty fucking awesome. Is he in the 2004 special edition they went and reshot Ian McDermott as the Emperor, and he was real fatty. I don't know, man. And he was
He doesn't look right.
he looked.
He was.
He had that.
Big,
Yeah, and it didn't look like.
He didn't look right.
No.
son of Skywalker must not become a Jedi.
What the fuck ever, dude? The original was way, way better.
So Adiwan got the original. He managed to get the Ian McDermott voice to say the original dialogue from the original release,
It's
but then
it's
also
actually in.
it looks like the
in
Emperor from fucking Jedi. Like, I don't know how they did this one. Like,
It's easy, dude. I have the VHS right now, and that scene for the digital remaster is in there.
I know it's always easy, Rich. That's why it took them 10 years.
That scene maybe not. That scene maybe not. I mean, it's like
The son of Skywalker must not become a Jedi.
dude, the other one, the reshoot was just bad, dude. I mean, you could tell it was makeup. Back then, he looked great for the part. He was all young. but with
Kyle,
makeup
what
on.
did you think about Yoda's facial expressions? Did you notice he happened to emote a little bit more than normal?
Yeah, more mouth movement, and I didn't notice it when I was watching it, but apparently they added in more eye blinks to make his eyes
Yep.
a little more lively.
More eye blinks?
Yeah, he's not always like eyes are wide open the whole time. Like,
Yeah, I know.
like you know, like.
No, I mean that was something that Adawan did in A New Hope. If you ever get a chance to see it, go back and watch the cantina scene.
Oh, the
watch-
Greedo scene, yeah, is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. He made all the puppets blink, and then they actually
Oh,
emote.
but-
So when Greedo gets mad, he actually. It's a
Mos
really nice subtle
Mos
effect.
Eisley
That,
Cantina looks alive, man. It feels alive when he goes back and does that with all those rubber masks.
so, and then I think lastly, one of the big things was too. I don't even know how. So there's this glitch. There's this issue in Empire where when they freeze Han in the carbonite, his shirt is it open or closed, Rich? It's open, but then
It's the
in
wrong shirt.
It's the wrong shirt, and then in Jedi it's a different shirt.
Yeah, because he didn't have the
Is
the black vest piece over.
Because they didn't care
And,
when they shot Jedi.
Yeah,
I'm like,
because
fuck
we're
it.
like whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Just want to make the movie. I want to make my movie.
Well, you know they did go to Ewoks.
I think what I read about that is that the shirt design was based off A New Hope because the guys building the carbonite model didn't have his new wardrobe, and so they had built the model based off earlier wardrobe, and then they're like, "Oh, this doesn't match."
Ooh. Oh well. So what Adiwan did is he managed to get an actual mold, the actual Harrison Ford mold. I have no fucking clue how that happened, but he managed to get it, and then fixed the shirt and reshot it with the light, lit it exactly the same way. Like he actually put it's on his blog or on the Facebook site. But this right here, this light coming off is actually from he's got a little orange card bouncing off on there, and then track the shots and then comp them together digitally. So it will match as he's working right now in Jedi. It will match when it'll all be seamless when he gets released from Carbonite in the next film. Spoilers for Return of the Jedi. It's pretty fucking awesome, guys. Like these are the sort of fan projects where it's like, why is this level of detail not being put into production, right? I mean, Kyle, you work out in Hollywood. You explain to me why they don't do this stuff. Like,
I have no idea why they don't.
They don't want to
I
spend
think
the money.
I think a lot of it is just because it's run by money people and not people who love what they're working on.
Or people who have a fucking clue.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I thought I knew a lot about what was going on in every frame in these films, but I was initially following this project on originaltrilogy.com, and they're still up, and they have the thread, the Adiwan Revisited thread that goes back to 2007 or 8, and those guys analyze frames in a way that, I mean, they if these guys started paying half that fucking attention to a JFK Zapruder film, we might get somewhere. Like the level of attention these guys do, like this guy walks this way, but over here and this, like they analyze every fucking frame to the point where I'm like, I don't know, like it's pretty crazy.
You would, yeah, that was the second guy in the grassy knoll.
Yeah. So overall, what did you overall, Rich? Any final thoughts on Empire Strikes Back Revisited? Is it your preferred version of Special Edition? Do you
Right now, it's definitely my preferred, and for two reasons. One, the clarity, but like I said, the mattes, some of them you can see that they're painted because he went so clear on it. I don't know if he's gonna adjust that later on, but Yoda's, and you mentioned it and brought it up, but Yoda's facial movement was the first thing I noted in those scenes. You know, he was just like, he became a person straight out of. It was better than the fucking, him jumping around fighting Count Dooku. It was better. Period.
Let's not talk about the prequels.
He just looked like help you, kid. Yes. And it was just like, holy shit, dude, he's really talking. Wars not make one great. And it was like, holy shit, his mouth is moving, dude. Holy, but and I recognized that immediately because when I watched the original, when I watched Adiwan's A New Hope scene with the cantina, Mos Eisley Cantina, I was so fucking blown away. I had to go back and watch it again, like 5 or 6 times, because it was just like, oh my god, they're all moving and talking, and it made the movie so much better. And I thought to myself at that point, why the hell didn't Lucas have them do these things in special edition? It was just it was simple. It's the small things that matter most in all things. And as far as Han and Carbonite, on Adiwan's site, it shows you an ABCD shot. The C shot is based on the Docking Bay 94. It may not look like much, but it's got it where it counts, kid. I did a lot of special modifications myself. Scene that original scene is that shirt that's actually in the original Carbonite, and when he comes out, he's wearing the end of Empire Strikes Back open-ended white shirt without the vest, and that's basically what that whole scene is. So it's kind of a messed up deal, and Adiwan went and fixed it, and there's actually a picture of him fixing it with the Han and Carbonite with that open flap shirt.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking awesome. Kyle, any final thoughts on Empire Strikes Back Revisited? Anything you want to say about the special editions or future revisiteds? Or?
Revisited is my favorite version. I remember when I talked to you the other week about Revisited, I was lamenting the fact that they had done A New Hope so long ago. It was all in standard definition. And then I saw on the website that he plans on going back and redoing A New Hope completely all over again, but in high def.
And he'll fix that some of those mats that didn't work out so well too. And
so that's very impressive.
Adiwan is committed to the goal. He's like the Emperor's hand. Like even when the Emperor's gone, he's sticking with the plan. Kill Luke Skywalker.
I thought I liked Star Wars. This guy takes it to a whole new level.
And for me, it's my preferred version of Empire. It's the only version I'll watch unless he does another version. I don't know. So I really hope moving forward, if they ever decide to tackle this special edition stuff, which they probably won't. But if they ever do, then I certainly hope this is, the thing the powers that be keep track of and mention too, even officially, and go, we can't get outshone by the fans. We got to actually, give the, if you're gonna make a special edition, at least complete the fucking thing like the way it should be. Not. God, I really can't wait to see what he does with Jedi. Rich, any thoughts on taking out Jedi rocks? Are you looking forward to not having to?
I actually like Jedi rocks, so and honestly,
blasphemy.
That's not the worst part of Special Edition.
It's so horrible.
It's really not.
It's so
That's
horrible.
not the worst part. No, if he cleans it up.
I hated that. That's where even I was like,
Well, honestly. But,
They didn't take out the boob, though. I wonder if I didn't want to leave out the boob shot. So.
Probably not. And that's classic Star Wars. Like, I don't know. It's lore at this point.
It's lore.
It's in like
Sure.
5 or 6 of the top quizzes. Go look it up right now. It's in 5 or 6 of the top quizzes for Star Wars.
So was Han shooting first, but we know how that goes. So,
Yeah, don't shut.
All right, everybody, I'm going to wrap it up. Rich, where can people bug you on the internet? Where are you hanging out these days?
Oh, mostly on Steam right now. I have to get upskirtwonderwoman.com back up because, well, it's the best site in the world.
When it comes out onto Blu-ray or whatever, we'll do a review of the film so we can talk about it.
Oh, that'll be great.
And we got to
That
have you.
Awesome.
We got to have Aquaman back on and talk about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. Kyle,
Actually, someone mentioned that.
where can people find you on the internet?
They can find me on Instagram. I'm listed below the video.
And the info box. We got Kyle's info down there. Just thought you might want to give a plug, Kyle. Good job, Kyle.
You know
I
what's
try.
great is you had to have Kyle, and he's all classy, and I'm like, upskirt Wonder Woman. He's like, yeah, you can find me on.
He's like, dude, you can totally find me on Instagram, dude. And I'm like, oh my God, Kyle, seriously, Kenneth did.
All right, everybody. So with that being said, I will see you all pretty soon on the next SketchCraft Live Talk later. So goodbye, everybody. Say goodbye.
Bye.
Say goodbye, Carmen.